has some treats waiting for her at the end if she behaves herself, which I know she will. And I'll talk a little bit about what we do here at the center, and then I'll turn it over to Julie, who will tell you a little bit about Colerful Chrome and her development, what we've done so far, and then Abby will actually do a training demo with Pink to show you how far she's come. And you all will get to see Abby get on Pink for the first time. Nobody's been on this horse. That's right. Since she was born. So this is a first for all of us, and we'll just have to see how it goes. And that's part of horses, is you never know exactly what's going to happen, but you try to prepare for it. So this is the Kentucky Equine Adoption Center. We are the largest all-breed rescue here in central Kentucky. And we've taken horses from many different situations. They come from abuse, abandonment, neglect situations, and also from owners who can no longer care for them. And these horses come with different stories and different backgrounds, and our job is to figure out what makes that horse tick, figure out what their story is, and figure out the best way we can prepare them to go into their next home, which will eventually be an adoptive home. So when horses come here, they all get examined by a veterinarian. They all go through rehabilitation if they need it, and then go into our training program and eventually get adopted. So it's a fairly complex process, and horses don't live here for the rest of their lives. They eventually all get adopted. And Pink is Colerful Chrome's nickname, hence the polo dress. And the reason she was named Pink is because when she showed up as a much younger version of herself, she had this pinkish rosy Roni hue to her, and she looked kind of pink, so we nicknamed her Pink. She is by California Chrome out of Colerful Bride, and is part of the People's Horse and part of California Chrome's legacy as well. So we are here to watch her do her thing. She's still young. She isn't even 2 years old yet, so she is a little person in horse life. But she's coming along really well, and we've really enjoyed having her. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're really happy to do this. We're very happy to have you join us out in Facebook land. And I wanted to talk for just a minute about our arena. This is brand new, just went up in June of this year, thanks to a very, very, very generous donation from the Joanne Gant Charitable Foundation. We were able to have this arena put up. This arena gives us about 3 times the amount of room that we used to have, and it was all outside. With this arena, we can do events like this in any type of weather, and it also has pretty good acoustics, I'm noticing. So it's good for events and clinics and workshops. We are very grateful to the Joanne Gant Charitable Foundation and to sponsors and supporters like her and her foundation, because none of this would have been possible without her support. And we're very grateful, and we wish some of her representatives could have been here today. Is there anything else on the arena that I should cover?
Introduce Julie.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce Julie Cooper to you. Julie is our barn manager. She manages all the horses that come in and go out, their progress. She works closely with the trainers and gets horses ready to get adopted. So she's going to tell you a little bit about Colerful Chrome's progress.
So many of you probably followed her the whole time, so you know a lot about her already. Since she's been here for the last almost year, I think, our main goal is just to let her grow up and develop. Anybody that saw her a year ago knows that she's tremendously bigger than she was when she came. I think she's going to be quite tall and quite big body when she's done growing. That being said, like a lot of teenagers, what?
I mean, Julie, if you don't mind, could you stand closer to the
Oh, no,
microphone
I don't
so
mind.
folks can hear you? Abby, you were fine where you were. Abby, you back up and be in the shot.
Sorry.
Julie doesn't need to be in the shot.
Okay.
Julie, just talk into the microphone, please. Okay.
Anyway, like a lot of gawky teenagers, I think she does suffer from some growing pains from time to time. So here and there, she looks a little bit awkward and maybe slightly unsound. And then she stops growing for a little bit and she looks a whole lot better. So we've been taking it really easy with her because we don't want to injure her because she's growing. Anybody that knows about horse development, their growth plates don't close for a really long time, and as a 2-year-old, it would be very hard on her joints to put her into a lot of work right now. But Abby does bring her up occasionally and makes her use her brain, because that's always important, and teaches her how to think. Really, it's important when you're learning to know how to follow directions and solve problems, just like with people. So that's sort of where we go with some of our training obstacle work and some of our other ground exercises. So you're probably tired of listening to me talk, so you know what, Abby? Go ahead and start doing some stuff with her, and I'll try to explain it the best that I can. So this is one of the most basic ground exercises that we do with horses. And what Abby is teaching her to do is to walk forward in a circle and to bend her rib cage and her body so that her body is the shape of the circle. And you will notice that Pink has her eye and her ear on Abby. Right now she's kind of saying no because she's a child. But she's focusing on her, even though she's arguing a bit. There we go. And what this does is it creates suppleness in the horse. And it's very important for them to use their body correctly. Just like any other athlete, if you're in any kind of sport, if you're using your body incorrectly, you're more prone to injury. So it's really important for the horse to know how to use its body correctly. So she always wants her to finish facing her and in a straight line. Now this side is a little bit trickier because Pink is missing her eye on this side. So some of the cues that she can't pick up on Abby's body language on this side. So Abby's probably a little more vocal on this side because she has to use cues that the horse can pick up on, which would be audio cues and not visual cues. It's very important to work horses both directions so that they have muscle development symmetry. Now she's just asking her to move her hindquarters away. This is important on the ground as well as in the saddle, because you always want the horse to quietly and swiftly move out of your space if you need them to. And once she starts riding this horse, that step right there, you can see it causes her to bend her rib cage even more. And it helps create balance. So on this side, Abby's using a little bit more tactile cue, again, because the horse doesn't have an eye on that side. And if you pay close attention, when Abby asks her to move over, sometimes she looks like she's backing up a little bit. So she'll keep asking until she gets the correct step, and then she stops asking. Now she's asking her to move her shoulders away. Again, this teaches the horse to balance and use its body correctly. And from a person's standpoint, it's a big safety thing. Again, if you need that horse to move out of your space, you want it to respond in a light and cooperative manner. You don't want to have to shove them like a piano. So she makes that look extraordinarily easy. But Abby can attest to the fact that the first time we ask any horse to put its feet on the steps, it's a big deal. And why that's such a big deal is, one, that's a completely unnatural obstacle. Two, the horse can't see directly under its nose. So it's going on information it picked up about that obstacle from way back here. So that's why they're hesitant, because they know they saw it, but they're not exactly sure where it is. And so it makes a terrible noise when they step on it. And it sounds hollow, because it is. So this is a big trust building exercise. This is really helpful with the horses to teach them that no matter how trappy or scary an obstacle is, that you're going to not endanger them. You're going to ask them to do something that's perfectly within their capability to do, and that they will be safe and you will be quiet while they're figuring it out. So her touching her nose on it, because she can't see directly under her nose, that's her way of discerning the depth. Look at her, she's all proud of herself. So horses are very reactive, and when they are afraid, they have two responses. They either run away or they turn around and try to kill whatever is scaring them. Most horses will just run away. So teaching them to stop and think about something and to problem solve how to do what you're asking is really important. Because later on in life, when you're riding them, if you run into a sticky situation, you want that horse to have confidence in you as a leader to give them directions they can follow and make sure they don't endanger themselves. Anybody have any questions? No questions? You gonna saddle her now? Yeah. Okay. So Abby's gonna go ahead and saddle this horse. She has had a saddle on a few times before, so in theory this won't be terribly new. But anytime you have a young horse that's inexperienced, it's always a really good idea to make sure they understand what's happening. You don't want to surprise the horse. I have seen trainers cover the horse's eye when they saddle him so that the horse doesn't spook at the saddle. It's like the worst thing you can do. Because then that horse is suddenly like, oh my gosh, there's something on my back. Where did that come from? What is it? It should get off. I might die. So we want the horse to understand what you're doing, every step. And after she gets this tack on the horse, she's going to do some of the same groundwork that she did without the saddle, because anytime you put a new piece of clothing on them, you have to start over. So that they understand they can still move their body and do all the things that you ask with the tack on, because the tack feels weird. It's going to move with them, it's going to rub on them, the girth is going to be tight under their belly. They have very sensitive ligaments and nerves underneath their belly. Some horses more so than others, and so you want them to get comfortable before you just leap on and try to ride.
Julie, has she had the saddle on before?
Yes, she's had it on several
I
times.
thought she had. Okay.
I said that.
Did you? Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The Julie and Kelly comedy act.
That's right. So you realize when she goes to actually get on, I'm going to have to go lead the horse, right?
Yeah, that's
So I
fine,
can't
and I'm
stand
going to
here and
talk,
talk.
so you
Okay.
go to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saddling for some horses is no big deal at all, and for other ones it's super traumatic for them. And their background really doesn't affect how they are going to react one way or another. Because we've had some formerly feral horses that saddled just fine when they got to that point, and we've had some horses that we raised that were complete broncs when you saddled them. It's just depends on the horse and their sensitivity. So you see how she's really resistant to go? She's like, man, this is on my back, it's really hard. I don't want to. So Pink has a really mellow, people-y personality, and she's generally really laid back, but she does have an attitude as well. So you can see her pinning her ears and shaking her head, and that's her way of saying, but I really don't want to. How about I make this face? Maybe you'll stop. So you can see she's a lovely mover. She's got a really nice floaty trot. So for those of you that don't ride, the reason she's stretching her legs forward is because now that the girth is pretty tight, she's making sure that there's no folds of skin trapped under her girth, so it's smoothing the skin out under that girth so it doesn't pinch. They have a lot of extra skin under there because their leg has to come forward so far.
Okay, so Julie is going to go lead the horse while Abby gets on the horse. What we're really looking for here is for this to be a major non-event, okay? For absolutely nothing to happen. For Pink to look like Abby's ridden her every day for the last 6 months, okay? She's a pretty chill horse, so I'm really not expecting anything unusual to happen. But, and we did, I mean, I will hold my hand up and say, we seriously thought about trying this before you all got here, just to see what she would do. But we decided that we wanted to be authentic and transparent. So y'all are seeing it for the very first time. Abby's doing something really important right now, besides putting her hair in a ponytail. She's gonna put on a helmet. We recommend that everybody wears a helmet every time you get on a horse. Doesn't matter what discipline it is. If you think you're just out in the backyard, always wear a helmet. It's just a non-negotiable for us. What goes on inside your brain is much more important than what goes on underneath that saddle. So Abby's going to check out her tack and make sure that it's good and tight. Now you'll see that Julie is going to keep a hold of the lead line. We're not going to turn Abby loose to gallop at will. We're going to keep Pink on the lead line because that's what she's used to. You see Abby's messing with the stirrups and Pink just does not seem to care one bit. Yes.
Can you all see?
You good making with the camera angle? Yeah. All right. Now Abby's not going to just hop on. She's going to move the saddle back and forth. She's going to lay over the saddle, lay her weight on Pink's back, and give her some clues as to what's about to happen next. She's going to rub her all over. You can see Pink's ears are moving around. She's curious. She's relaxed. Okay, Abby's going to put a little weight in that stirrup. Lean over her a little bit. And you can see it looks like Pink's more concerned as to whether or not Julie has a treat. Look, Abby's weight is completely across her. And Abby will slowly swing her leg over. And there's Colerful Chrome looking like a real horse. Okay. Now the reason she's getting on and off is just to prove to her that nothing bad is going to happen. She's going to get on, she's going to get off. Everybody's calm and laid back. Let's see what happens. There she goes. We're getting a little bit of licking and chewing as Pink shows us that she's completely happy and satisfied. She understands what's going on, and she's happy with Abby being up there. Julie has stepped back. She's literally given Abby and Pink a little more rope. So Pink is now operating more off of Abby's leg signals than she is off of Julie being right up close to her. She's learning to listen to Abby as the rider and not Julie as the lead line. Although a little pressure on the lead rope didn't hurt anything. Okay, now see, they've kind of come to an impasse. There we go.
You'll also notice that Abby's riding Pink just in her halter, and the reason for that is because when young horses like this are starting out, you want to keep things simple for them, and you want them to feel like they've accomplished something at the end. She's had a bit in her mouth, but she's probably picking up a little bit on the energy here, so there's no reason to overdo it the first time out, and that's why Abby's just riding her in the halter.
And right now we're not worried about collection or her moving behind the bit or gathering up to be square. We're just asking her to put one foot in front of the other 3 or 4 times in a row and to do it safely. And she's learning what she needs to learn simply by the side pull on the reins and by Abby's inner leg and her heels. We'll work on collection and all those important things on another day. That was huge. So right now I think if you wanted to very quietly express your appreciation, that would be appropriate. Not just to the horse, but to Abby and Julie too. So you've been watching a live demonstration of horse training from the Kentucky Equine Adoption Center here in Nicholasville, Kentucky. We want to thank you for joining us today, both live and on the internet, whether you're on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, or one of our other platforms. Please know that you can follow us for a monthly donation at Patreon on the Patreon platform. We have about 50 horses here at any given time. 50 horses which each cost about $500 a month to support. We are a 501c3 and we exist solely on your donations and the donations of corporations. So we'd like to ask, especially in this time of pandemic, that you consider supporting us financially. You can find out more about that on our website at www.kyeac.org or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, any of those great places. We hope you enjoyed being with us today. Thanks again for watching and being part of this wonderful work that we do here, helping, healing, and homing Kentucky's neediest horses.